Hello, and welcome to the Pest Control Marketing Podcast with your host, me, Hal Coleman, uncensored and unplugged. Pay attention, take lots of notes, because you're going to find out exactly how to get more new customers, more referrals, and grow your business.
Hal Coleman has been active in the pest control industry for over 40 years, including owning and operating his own successful pest control business for 18 years. He now devotes his time to helping other PCOs and other WCOs double, triple, and even quadruple their businesses faster than they ever imagined. Be sure to check out his website, pestcontrolmarketer.com. For more information about Hal's coaching program, you can reach him at 770-993-0004 or email him hal@halcoleman.com. Mike Stewart is known as the Internet audio and video guy. Since the birth of the Internet, Mike has been showing small business owners how to get more new customers, increase their sales, and grow their businesses online using audio and video, now with iPhones and Android phones. For more information about Mike's coaching program and his online training courses, visit MikeStewartCoaching.com or email him mike@internetaudioguide.com.
Well, hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Pest Control Marketing Podcast, along with my good friend and mentor, Mike Stewart. You there, Mikey?
I am here, and I'm looking forward to today's subject. You know, I have a great time doing these podcasts with you, Hal, and it's just. I think it's the future of communication and education and fun in all kinds of businesses. And you know, I want us to make sure that we provide some helpful tips in the world of in the world of pest control marketing, and that's what our goal is. We want to see everybody succeed at doing the best they can with their business.
Absolutely, and plus I get to spend a good bit of time talking to my friend and my brother, so I enjoy this. Hey, listen, I want to tell you a story.
All right.
About vehicles and vehicle design, because that's what we're going to talk about today in this episode.
All right.
Back when I was the year I was president of the Georgia Pest Control Association, we had a conference down in Valdosta, Georgia, and we played golf had a golf tournament, and so I was out at pulled up the country club, you know, I get my golf clubs out, and I'm putting on my golf shoes and preparing for all of the curse words and mental anguish that I'm going to go through in the next 5 hours on the golf course. And cars are streaming into the parking lot, and I look up and I see this vehicle coming down the road into the parking lot, and it looked like something out of a circus. I mean, it was one of those PT Cruisers, and man, this thing had bugs and spiders and stuff all over it. I mean, it just stopped me in my tracks when I saw it. I'd never seen a pest control vehicle that looked like that before. So the guy pulls on up, and as a matter of fact, he parks right next to my truck. And I saw that it was an Orkin vehicle. I'd certainly never seen an Orkin vehicle like that. And I said, man, that is the wildest vehicle I've ever seen. He laughed. He said, yeah, isn't that something? He said, I got it just as an experiment. He said, I had this thing. He owned an Orkin franchise down there somewhere. And I said, well, what kind of reaction are you getting? He said, are you kidding? He said, that thing paid for itself in about 6 weeks. He said, when people call and they see that vehicle and they call, and he said, it is a moneymaker. I said, no kidding. I said, I'm not surprised, you know. But now this was back in 2004 or 2005, so this has been almost 15 years ago. Anyway, so I started thinking of my own trucks, my pest control business. It just had a little, sign on the square on the door, name of my company and my phone number, just like conventional marketing wisdom tells us all to do. So I started thinking, man, I'm going to go home and change the designs of my vehicles. I don't ever have people flagging me down, saying, hey, man, I love your vehicle. I want to do business with you. It never happens to me. So I went home and redesigned my vehicles. I put this giant black widow spider up on the hood. It's like it just covered the whole hood. Its legs almost hung off of the sides. And my company name was North Fulton Exterminating, but I made the word exterminating really big and the phone number really big where you could read it from like 100 yards away easily. And then I put a rat and a cockroach and another, I think I put maybe 2 cockroaches on it. And then right across the whole back side of the bed, the panel on the side, I put "We kill bugs" and exclamation point and then quotation marks. And I made the font so big and bold that, and I stepped it off. You could read "We kill bugs" from 150 yards away. So when this truck came down the road, there was no doubt about who it was and what it was there for. And guess what?
What?
Phone starts ringing. You know, people call and say, "Do y'all kill bugs?" I said, "We sure do." They said, "I thought you did. I saw your truck going down Georgia 400, and I got some bugs that need killing, man." And I'm thinking, wow, this truck is like a customer magnet. So it worked really well for me, and I started sharing that idea with some of my other pest control associates, with other small pest control businesses, and some of them began to go a little bolder and a little bigger. So then I began to teach this to my clients. 10 years ago when I sold my pest control business and went into the consulting business in the pest control industry, I started teaching people. The bigger, the bolder, the better. It's a direct correlation to how much the phone rings. And, I now begin to run into naysayers, especially some on Facebook. They'll say, "Oh, I don't believe in that. I don't believe you should advertise what you do. Some customers might not want people to see a pest control truck in their driveway. They might feel funny about that." And I'm like, hey, I don't know what they feel. I don't know. All I've ever had is positive comments on my vehicle, people saying I love that vehicle. And my phone rings. And nobody yet has ever told me to not park that truck in their driveway. Mm-hmm. As far as I know, nobody's ever told one of my 7 technicians, "Don't park that truck in my driveway." All we get are positive comments. I even had a client this past year out in Southern California, right on the south side of Los Angeles. He serviced Hollywood. I mean, he serviced that area out there, and the name of his company was instead of Pest Control, it was Exterminating. He put Exterminating down the side of his truck. I said, I think I'd go with Pest Control. Maybe even the word exterminating bugs me a little bit, but he said, "Nope, that's the name of my company, and I'm putting Exterminating." And this guy's truck looked like a zoo circus of arachnids coming down the road. It was unbelievable. Phone number big, the word exterminating huge. And you know what? I talked to him about a month ago, and his wife works with him. I didn't actually talk to him. I talked to his wife. I said, "Well, how's it going with the vehicle?" She said, "People love it." I said, "Have you gotten any negative comments about it?" She said, "Not a single negative comment, but we've gotten tons of great comments." She said, "People just come up to us at a gas station and want a business card." And then another one of my clients, when we made his big and bold, these bugs that look like they're going to come off of the truck and attack you, he said, the only negative comment I've gotten, he said, was when I pulled into McDonald's. He said the lady was afraid to open the window to give me my money, to give me my order, because she said she was afraid something on that truck was going to get her. I said, well, there you go. So, that's what I want to talk about, and I want you to jump in there now and take over. But that's it. The bigger, the bolder, the better with your vehicles. And if you don't do it, you're losing business.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing that I can tell you is that your trucks, your vehicles have to roll down the highway to service customers. Your techs have to go to and from wherever. I know a lot of techs will take their trucks home. So in other words, that truck is a rolling billboard for your company. But if there is any confusion to a 3-year-old of what you do and what you provide for your customers, then that confusion, there's a marketing comment that I've known for years, Hal, a confused mind always says no.
Amen.
So the thing is that we can give some case studies of our students who have taken our advice, even though we've heard the pushback. I don't want that nasty-looking truck in my fleet. Well, the positives outweigh the negatives. That is just a fact. Do you want people you're in the business of killing bugs. You want people to know that you kill bugs. So if people can't read the side of your truck and know what you do, then they're confused and they say no. We'll give you an example, and I don't believe
from over 10 feet away too.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to easily read it, clearly read it, and make sure that people on the highway know how to get in touch with you. So big phone numbers. Now, something you left out, that's Mr. Offline there. A easy to remember website should be in big bold letters on that truck. Because here's what people will do. They're driving down the freeway. It's obvious that your business kills bugs. The wife or the husband is the passenger. And you know what they do, Hal? They
take a picture of it.
No. They actually pull up their phone and pull up your website on their phone while they're rolling down the road.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they do.
Absolutely. In fact, I had a PCO that put a giant QR code on the back tailgate of their trucks. And people would hold the phone up in traffic and snap that QR code and go to a coupon on their phone right from the tailgate of the truck. So you got to remember that if there's any confusion on the graphics of your truck, you can't calculate the business you're losing. And I'll guarantee you it exceeds the number of people that are grossed out by bugs on the side of your truck. Now, I want to tell you about another little story here. You were into stories today. You know our good friend Tim McCorder.
Yes.
All right? When Tim started working with us years ago, his truck was black, and on the side of his truck it said Systematic Services. That's all it said. Okay, a black truck, hard to read, Systematic Services. He might have had a phone number. I don't remember.
Systematic Services was in silver, so it didn't even really show up all that well on the.
You couldn't read it because it wasn't big enough. There were no bugs, and he didn't have a website at the time. And then, more importantly, it was on the side of his truck. It wasn't on the tailgate of his truck. It wasn't on the front of his truck. So therefore, when you asked 10 people, what do Systematic Services do?
Not a clue.
They didn't know, were they computer repair? Were they phone installation? Were they HR consulting? I mean, a systematic service could have been anything.
Yeah. Well, Mike, the reason for that, as we talked to him, some people are hesitant to let people know they're in the pest control business because we've been told by the lawyers and we've been told by the environmental nutcases that we shouldn't use terms like that.
You better be careful what you just said.
You know what? Hey, I don't know that there's too many of them listening to the Pest Control Marketing Podcast.
Well, a disclaimer.
Because they don't like us a lot of times. But anyway, for those who are listening, Mike is the one who just said that, not me.
Thanks a lot.
But anyway, and there's the story of our friend and client, Mark Hunter. Now, I'll mention his name because Mark tells this story. He even, they interviewed him in PCT magazine a couple of years ago, and he shared this story with them. So he's very open about it. He left a big, huge pest control company. He'd been with them for years and years and years. He was the national technical director, and went in business for himself doing pest and wildlife control. Probably, I'm going to say 6 or 7, 8 years ago now. And he called me and he wanted to book a day with me. So I said, okay. So we arranged it. He drove up here from down in Macon, Georgia, about 100 miles away, pulled up. I said, let's just meet at my house. And I said, we'll sit out on my back screen porch, and listen to the waterfall by the pond, and we'll just kick back and we'll do marketing. So pulled up in my driveway, and when I walked out to greet him, and he said, how you like my truck? And I looked at it, and it said Landmark Pest Solutions. and his name is Mark, so Landmark, and it was kind of a wrapped design. It had a big lighthouse on the side of it with a beam, the light beam shining down over the word Landmark. I said, what's that all about? He said, well, you know, a lighthouse is a landmark. And people coming in, they're searching for that lighthouse. And when they see it, they know they're home. And he said, I want my pest control company to be perceived that way, like a landmark, a base point that people can orient to in my community. I said, well, how the hell are they going to ever know that, Mark? He said, well, that's a good question, because I have had a few people ask me, what does a lighthouse have to do with pest control? And he said, I have to explain it to them. I said, you know, I think the idea sucks. That's what I told him. He just kind of jolted like he had just touched him. He said, what do you mean? I said, Mark, long story short, we had a long conversation about the vehicle. I convinced him to turn around and spend, I think he spent $2,200 on a whole new design of the vehicle. Landmark Pest and Wildlife Solutions. You could read it from, I swear, 200 or 300 yards away. His phone number big. He put these 3D raccoons and rattlesnakes and bats and possums and roaches. And I mean, the truck looked great. And it was, so I talked to him back, not this past summer, not last summer. Well, I guess it was last summer now. Wow. Yeah, time flies here. Last summer, 4th of July weekend, he called me to ask me a question, and he was up in North Georgia. They have a cabin up there on a lake up in North Georgia, which is about 200 miles from where he lives. He said, I just called to tell you a story you'd appreciate. He said, I drove my truck up here, and he said, when I was going through Atlanta, going around I-285, you know, the perimeter around Atlanta, he said, Hal, he said, I got 3 phone calls from people wanting to talk to me about pest control, and they were driving next to me on the interstate. And he said, every time I just had to laugh, say, I'm sorry, I don't live here. I'm just passing through. And I said, well, you've had that truck now how long? He said, I've had it for 2 years now, since I redesigned it. And I said, well, you know what I teach you about tracking. I said, so I hope you can tell me the numbers. He said, I can. He said, in 2 years, I've sold approximately $46,000 worth of business from people. He said, how'd you find out about me? They said, I saw your truck. I said, so that's about $23,000 a year. He said, that's right. And I said, so that's almost $2,000 a month. He said, that's right. So, Landmark Pest and Wildlife Solutions, call him and ask him about it. There's a testimonial on my website, pestcontrolmarketer.com. I mean, it's just, you know, the proof is in the pudding, and that is the pudding right there, Mike.
Well, to recap, the main thing of it is make it easy for people to find your website, to call your phone number, read from a distance. And I'll tell you something we left out here. Make sure that you have, if you got any verbiage on the side of your truck, that people know what you do. I mean, I love Kobe McConnell's positioning statement. God keeps making them, I keep killing them. And, you know, you did We Kill Bugs. 3 words. It makes sense, because the thing is, if somebody is offended about what you do, you just got to let it go, because there's more people. This week, Hal, right now, we've got little bitty ants coming in our house, and my wife is livid, you know, and I don't know what to do about these little bitty ants.
Well, so just tell her to be thankful they're not big ants. She'll be happy.
She says, how'd they get in the house? And I said, they're so small they can crawl in about 1 million places, Susan.
Yeah.
They're looking for something to eat, just like I am. What's for dinner?
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, so the thing that I want to leave this course, you know, don't have confusion on your truck. A 3-year-old says, ooh, look at those ugly bugs. I hope that man can kill them. That's what you want a 3-year-old to say. If it scares people a little bit, fine. It may jerk a direct response, and it may get a phone call, a visit to your website, and it could turn, what's the value of one more customer from something that you got to do anyway? You could put a little bitty sign that nobody knows what you do, or you can be big and bold and make clarity so there's no confusion.
Yeah, a lot of. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, and I'm going to say, if there's confusion on what to do, you need to get a hold of my good friend Hal Coleman at pestcontrolmarketer.com. Take him up on his free hour of consulting, because I'm telling you something, folks, Hal Coleman will make a difference in your business, in the offline world, and just the no-nonsense direct response marketing triggers. Call him at 770-993-0004. That's right, 770-993-0004. And if you have questions about the online world, you call me at Mike Stewart, 770-826-3662. That's 770-826-3662. Write those numbers down, and when you're sick and tired of hitting your head against a wall, call us, and let's talk about how we can make a difference in your business. And I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and let you know that we're here for you to kind of just point out some things that you just need to not ignore anymore. What do you got to say about that, Hal?
Oh, that's right, Mike. That's good, and I'm sure you'll spend an hour with them too. And,
absolutely.
Listen, I enjoyed this as always. We could talk about this stuff forever, but we got places to go and things to do. So, Mike, thanks again for joining me on this podcast. I always look forward to it. I think we share some good information. We give tons of great feedback. And folks, stay tuned. If you're not subscribed to this podcast, go subscribe to it so you never miss an episode. And we will see you on the next episode of the Pest Control Marketing Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Pest Control Marketing Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast in iTunes and on your phones, and in Stitcher on your Android. But more importantly, go to our website, pestcontrolmarketingpodcast.com. Subscribe to our email list to always be notified of new episodes. You're never going to want to miss what we've got coming up next, and you never know what we're going to be able to do to help you with your pest control marketing.